Hey folks, welcome to the SmackDraw Podcast, your one-stop shop for all your WWE and AEW show reviews, recaps, pay-per-view predictions. It's our 50th episode, folks. We did it! All right, let's pack up. Let's go home. No. All right, you guys. Hey, listen, this is we're your host, Kyle. Joining us today, we have Sebastian with us and newcomers to the show, Mr. Colin doing the editing side. He's going to make his podcast debut along with debuting Mr. Vince. What's going on, you guys?
Hey, how's it going? Glad to be on here.
Awesome.
What's the crack, guys? How's everybody?
What's the crack? Colin's been teaching me some Irish lingo.
I had to get that one in, Kyle. I had to get that one in.
Oh, man.
What's up, everybody?
And, of course, the always favorite, Mr. Sebastian, with us, too. If you guys are new to the channel, man, we're just a bunch of guys that like to go ahead and recap all the pretty much the Western professional wrestling scene, mainly just WWE and AEW. Let's be honest, we're not really covering indies too much. Every now and then, if like Wrestle Kingdom has a big show or there's something that's really grabbing a lot of attention, we might go ahead and cover that too. But day in and day out, WWE and AEW will be our bread and butter. If you're new to the show, we are on a lot of the podcast stations. You can find us on Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, iTunes, and Google Play. Along with that, our YouTube channel is growing. Hey, you guys, actually, apparently asking people to subscribe and check out YouTube has been paying off. I was on there earlier. Everything's in the green. We've seen the most growth on YouTube since, honestly, its inception. So that's worth celebrating.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
It's because Colin here, the new addition. He's
Don't.
It's all Colin. He's been editing, making small sound bites, catching the funniest moments of our shows, and releasing them in bite size for you guys on YouTube. But no, if you are new, like I said, for probably the fourth time, head on over to YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe. We are going to be creating original content very soon. Too early to say exactly what we got, but I've been talking to a couple of you guys behind the scenes, and we got some good stuff potentially coming, man. So make sure you're joining us from the ground floor up, and help us get to that 100 subscriber mark. Lastly, on this show, it's really, like, you could sum it up, man. It's just a bunch of guys that like to talk wrestling with each other, and we just happen to record it and throw it out in podcast format. But we would like to talk wrestling with you guys as well. Make sure that you follow us and hit us up on Twitter. You can hit us up at the SmackDraw Pod, or myself at the Kai Tai Show. And then I'll let Sebastian, Vince, and Colin fight over tagging themselves for you guys.
Well, for me, like Vince, I'm at SES Vince everywhere, like capital SES, and you can just find me there. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple.
Nice.
The simple at wrestling fan _32.
And I'm Colin, the wrestling fan, at Wrestling Chump, because I'm a chump for wrestling.
Love that name too. And Colin's icon is always changing. Colin is meeting professional wrestlers way more often than I think any of us are, Except actually, no, you, Vince, you and Benji, you attend a lot of wrestling in Chicago. Chicago's a hotbed for wrestling, so I bet you guys run into wrestlers a lot.
Yeah, there's actually a couple that kind of like recognize our little group of people already, like specifically my sister and my friend, like they get recognized by the wrestlers all the damn time. And then I'm just there like, hey, the other guy too and stuff.
Hi, I'm a fan.
Mostly, yeah, I'm here too, I like you guys too. But I mean, I've slowed down on meeting the wrestlers, but I'm not on Colin's level, but I was for a second there. I saw he met Tony Storm. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah. So
my girl Tony. Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Tony Storm.
Is she the most recent wrestler that you've met, Colin?
Yeah, so I met Tony last night. I was at I call it an indie show. It's the biggest show in Ireland. It's called OTT Wrestling. If people are listening and haven't seen it, I recommend that you watch. It's absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, Tony was the most recent. I met Tony, David Starr, and Jordan Devlin.
Jordan Devlin, what a stud, man.
Got a couple of picks.
Nice.
Where
I
can
felt very. I'll just put it out there. I felt very insecure standing beside Jordan Devlin because like he is a hunk, like an absolute hunk, like.
I
And
imagine I imagine that means like a handsome fella.
yeah,
Oh
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Very,
Okay.
very, very handsome, and all the girls just like look at Jordan. So I didn't even post that picture because I know that I just wouldn't even be looked at that picture. Everyone's just gonna be looking at Jordan. So
That's the picture you use as the Tinder profile, and you just leave them guessing which one you are.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man, you said it's called the OTT wrestling.
It's OTT wrestling, yeah. So
OTT.
over the top wrestling.
Where can
Ah,
do you
nice.
do you know where people can actually watch it?
Yeah, so as far as I know, they're on the Wrestling Network one in the States. I think it's just called the Wrestling Network. I'm not
It's
100% on that, but they have their own streaming service.
They have their own
Um,
streaming service.
yeah, you can get it out over the top wrestling.com. It's set up through Pivot Share. I subscribe to it. It's $8.50 a month.
There you go.
And they do about at least one show a month. And a load of
Nice.
additional content as well. But
Lovely.
one of the good things about them is actually the next show they have WWE stars, NXT stars, oh sorry, AEW stars, Impact stars, Killer Cross, and I think Scarlett is coming over for another show. And they have New Japan stars as well. So it's one of the only ones in Europe and anyway that would get all those different types of
Wow. Okay.
promotions coming to the
Nice.
one promotion. So no one else kind of does that.
That's
That's
interesting.
really interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're pretty blessed. We're pretty blessed to have
So
that kind of setup.
What's the promotion that held that really dramatic match and rematch between Jordan Devlin and Walter?
That's OTT.
That is OTT.
Yeah, that's
I
OTT,
saw
yeah.
I saw a promo package for Jordan Devlin and Walter's rematch that would give you
Is that the one
chills.
where Walter is out in the sea and he's a giant walking in and Jordan standing on the cliff? Was it
No,
that
this
one?
was
No?
it was a rematch for a title that I guess Devlin had lost, and it was more of like a workout montage, but it was really
Okay.
dramatic, and you could hear the crowd was like overwhelming, like the soundbite of the crowd was super overwhelming. It was really
Yeah,
dramatic. It was pretty much Jordan Devlin was like a broken man and was trying to like be reborn and get back his belt from Walter, and apparently it was very very well received.
yeah, that got huge reviews. That's a guy, Sean Ryan, I think his name is. He actually went to work with NXT UK the last couple of months to do their build-ups for Takeover.
Oh.
So yeah, there's a lot of good people in the promotion picking up a lot of traction. So as I said, we're just very blessed at the moment to have that in the country and so close to where I live.
It's cool, man. I mean, guys, I'm jealous, man. Apparently, everybody is around like awesome wrestling except for like me and Sebastian.
Oh,
Listen, if you guys are wondering what show we're recapping, we're actually not. We're doing a special edition. We're calling Offshoot. Hopefully, that's not trademarked by somebody. Where we're just mainly just gonna cover like this week in wrestling, some news, some major happenings, and then yeah, I mean, really, that's it. This is a brainchild of Sebastian, so we all have him to thank for this wonderful episode. And I guess we'll get right into it. Sebastian, since this is your brainchild, how about you kick us off, man?
Yeah, man. Before we start, I might as well throw out we're going to be covering stuff from WWE, a little bit of the Impact, AEW. This will be the show where we do cover, the bigger stories like Impact and stuff. We don't have a show for that, but this is the episode where we can kind of cover. Like, for example, we have a Killer Cross story today that we'll get to later. But first, I guess we'll just talk about the happenings for the road to Clash of Champions.
Yeah, what a B-rated pay-per-view this is turning out to be. Do any of you guys have any inkling of any greatness that might come from this? I'm not saying it's going to be a stinker, but I'm finding
Right.
it hard for me to get excited for the show.
okay. So when you guys were talking about it, I think it was the SmackDown recap. You guys were talking about how, like Rob was talking about, as long as it's a championship match, I'll be more interested in it. Well, that kind of applies to me. And then the fact that it's a pay-per-view that all the titles look like are going to be on the line, that just gets my interest because there could be a title change. So that
You,
kind of gets
if there's any
gets my
show,
interest.
if there's any show
There's
that there's
any
gonna be a
show.
title change,
There's got to be at least one. So like, obviously we still don't know the U.S. title match that's going to be set up, but it might be Cedric, so that matchup might be interested. And obviously the finals of the King of the Ring are going to take place at Clash of Champions, and I want to see that. So that's going to be, I think, the biggest thing of consequence, unless the Fiend makes his presence known at the show. But I think everything, like, there's nothing that really pops out to me right now, but everything is kind of interesting. It's not too dull for me, but I'll be tuning in. I'm excited, somewhat.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. It is kind of a B show, but look, at the end of the day, WWE does a lot of shit wrong, but they know how to put on a pay-per-view. Other than the Saudi shows, I can't remember the last pay-per-view I didn't enjoy.
I actually haven't watched the Saudi show since the first one, the Greatest Royal Rumble. I just haven't bothered to watch them.
so it's not at a protest.
They
they just timing and hype, and there's no real stakes at them. Is that what's keeping you out? Or is it
a
the
little
protest?
bit? It's a little bit of the protest. It's a little bit of like there's no high stakes going on, and then just bad wrestling happening. They're the last two shows, so it's a combination of the three.
God, yeah.
And then and then obviously like at the time they're showing up, like I'm doing other stuff before I go to work, and I really don't want to rush going into work and stop doing other productive stuff in my life. So I just choose to cut them off. The only thing that's like I think that's carried over was like Shane McMahon, the greatest.
That's the
best in
only
the world.
story that's come out of it, and
Yeah,
it's
so
so
far.
loosely too. It's so
Yeah.
loosely based off of that. Yeah, they did have like you guys know the movie the Room. It's like one of the worst movies ever made.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, no,
Not me.
it's like universally made fun of. But yeah, so like the Saudi show had like their wrestling match equivalent of that, and that was the Undertaker and Goldberg. It was so bad you had to watch it. Like that's just the best way to put it.
I haven't watched the match, but I've seen the clips on Twitter and stuff like that, and oh my gosh.
The moment Goldberg speared that ring post, bro, it was like he didn't have his legs under him no more.
Yeah, that was game over.
Clear
I actually thought it was a good match up to that point. Or I thought we were going to get a better match up to that
An
point.
alright one, yeah.
Downhill from there, way downhill.
Yeah, it's
But as far as Clash, though, you got the Braun Seth storyline that I'm actually interested in. Kyle, if you remember when this started, I said I can't remember a time where somebody's defended tag titles and then later in the match or later in the night had a world title match.
they've been pushing. This is the first time ever. It's not the first time someone's defended two titles, but where a tag team defended their titles and then faced off against each other for a singles title or even a world title. It's a first in that respect.
Yeah,
So
you're
I'm
right.
excited
It is
for
the
that.
first in that. It's the yeah.
Go ahead.
So sorry. Go ahead.
This is, I think, the launching point for possibly a fatal four-way between the four horsewomen. You got that storyline going.
We need to have that. We need to have that match before they're like yesterday's news. Before they're burnt out. Before they're overexposed to us. They've been the top women for several. We're going on almost like 5 years, right? That these women have led the charge in their respected division. So we need to get that fatal four-way before the moment passes us and there's no interest for it. Kind of like a la Sting and Triple H. That match is a dream match, but it happened way too late. Granted, it's not like they're going to hold off for 20 years, but you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah, it did happen in NXT, but obviously a match at, say, Royal Rumble or WrestleMania 10 times bigger.
Yeah, you do that match at, yeah, you're right, either of those two pay-per-views.
I think they can only do it at Mania.
You got Kofi and Orton, and I'm still very behind this feud. You got a fresh matchup possibly in AJ Cedric. The first real big title match, well, I wouldn't really say big, but first title defense for Shinsuke. I'm excited to see where him and Sammy go with their alliance. So there's a lot of interesting stuff for the show.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, Shinsuke's losing that belt. That's the only prediction I'm giving away today. But Shinsuke, it's
No.
the Miz.
No.
The Miz. He
No.
collects Intercontinental.
No.
He eats them up like M&Ms. Okay,
No.
like there's death, there's taxes, and then there's Miz winning Intercontinental Championships. Okay, folks, it's happening.
No,
It's
it-
not.
And look, it'd be crazy for them to start this alliance with Sammy and Shinsuke and then take the belt off.
Yo, no, listen to me. Listen to me. This is WWE we're talking about.
I know.
Whose reign is the Miz gonna match with the Intercontinental
It's
Championship?
I know
Jericho.
Chris Jericho.
You know WWE's petty. They will
They got time, though.
they will rush that story just so they can say he holds the record.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Man.
And two Roman.
They
and
did it with
Cedric-
Nikki Bella. Come on. If they're going to make Nikki Bella the longest reigning women's champion or divas, yo, they'll do it with The Miz, okay?
Eventually, the Miz is going to give. I don't think they're going to totally kill this Shinsuke and Sammy's the same thing for it.
Here's what I have to say to counter that point, Kyle. Back then, when they did that with Nikki and the Divas title, AJ wasn't the top women's champion in some other promotion. Jericho would be the top champion in AEW. By saying that you just matched Jericho, you'd be like, oh, wait, Jericho's a 10-time IC champion. Oh, he's still around. Oh, he's a champion. Oh, he wrestles here. Let me check out that show.
Yeah.
Like, you never know. That might drive people to go check out.
Counter argument. That requires logic.
Jesus. But if you follow 205, I like their title match. And also, this is a big pay-per-view for Eric Rowan. He closed the show Tuesday on a great note, and now we got to see if he delivers in the ring. Arguably the top guy in the company. So
Hell yeah. What do you guys think of them ditching the Clash of Champions format? The pay-per-view was usually, reserved to have champions face off against the other champs.
And like Vince said, King of the Ring finals as well. I'm very invested into that. But I don't mind it, man. It gives kind of more variety on the show.
It brings more stakes. Because there were no stakes when you had champs face off against other champs. Because the belts were never on the line.
Yeah,
You never had
but-
double champions coming out of Clash of Champions. It was always bragging rights. So at least there's stakes this time around.
Yeah, I don't
think-
mind one non-title match or even two. If they want to throw another one out there, I don't mind it.
Honestly, Clash of Champions, I just consider an extension or rebranding or renaming of Night of Champions, which
Right.
the entire concept was all the titles are on the line. So it's not really like a WCW thing. It's just WWE's like, oh, we're just going to use the name, but like not exactly the right name. We're just going to change it up to make it feel like it's a new pay-per-view when it really isn't.
What were you thinking, Colin?
Honest-
I heard you start to get
Yeah,
in
I just think obviously the Clash of Champions was champion against champion, but when you're so close to Survivor Series, and that's been the Survivor Series
Oh,
thing
that's a
over
good
the last
point.
year.
Yeah.
You can't do it now and then do it in what two months
It's a very
in
good
November.
point.
So, yeah, I think as Vince just said there, I think it's just a rehash of the Night of the Champions. Obviously, they had the trademark from the WCW days with the S on the end. But yeah, I think that it was just a rehash of the name.
I really hope, which we're not going to get into this, but I just really hope that they don't do it this year at Survivor Series.
They don't
I
what?
feel like it's kind of, they don't do the Raw versus SmackDown thing this year. I hope and pray they don't.
Oh, man, but that is
I
just...
kind of like it. I'm probably in the minority.
After
but,
last
like,
year, though, bro, like, I never want to see... Because it's... You see... It's super transparent what Vince thinks of SmackDown every time they do it. Raw beat SmackDown in a clean sweep last year. They beat them on every single match, excluding the pre-show, and then the news leaked that the pre-show was supposed to be Raw winning, but one of the producers screwed it up.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I remember that. To be fair, like, I think it might be a little bit different. Like, I think they were trying to tell a story that it just didn't work out. Saying Shane's like turning on the roster, like blaming the roster, or like people were blaming Shane. I don't know what story they were trying to tell.
it got
but
swept
didn't
under the
work
rug
out.
the very next day.
Yeah,
It was
I think it was the
complete-
exact same as well.
Which
Sorry.
it always gets swept up. Like ever since they done this, a week later, nobody talks about it. And that's why I hope it don't happen again this year. It's a Big Four pay-per-view. It should have meaning.
You know, it doesn't
Weeks
even
later,
feel
no,
like a
just
Big
forgot.
Four no more to me, though. Man.
No,
Exactly.
no.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
You know-
I think it has a lot to do with this.
NXT, the first pay-per-view, I don't know of any other ones, although I wouldn't be surprised if it's happened, but NXT TakeOver beat Survivor Series in ratings and viewers. I think it was last year or maybe the year prior. I can't remember. But it was the first time that an NXT TakeOver actually had more viewers than Survivor Series or one of the big four pay-per-views that it followed. And that shows what people think about Survivor Series, is that you have...
Yeah, definitely.
Where you have a show that's primarily watched by hardcore fans, not the casual fans, which the casual fans, mind you, have the numbers, not the hardcore fans. And the hardcore fans outdrew the casual fans. So that shows where Survivor Series stands nowadays, man.
Like I said, I think it has something to do with this show or SmackDown stuff, because when that whole thing gets dropped and not even talked about a week later, why watch it?
Why bother?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And, which I will say this, if it does happen this year, I about lay man down at SmackDown Wednesday night with the Fox deal and all that. But even with that, I miss the days where you had Team Bischoff versus Team Austin, Team Lesnar versus Team Angle. And there's ways you can do it, make it mean stuff. This Raw versus SmackDown, it doesn't.
The way they could make it mean something is if there's some kind of stakes involved. So, like, let's say if, like, SmackDown wins, then SmackDown gets the 30th spot for both the men and the women's Rumble, you know, so that way it's close enough so that the stakes don't get forgotten about. Or, like, you know, something along those lines. Like, there has to be some meaning for the wrestlers to want to work together to help get that, like, reward, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I'd have a little bit, I guess. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like they completely have to dump all the storylines they got just for it. And then have to pretty much restart the heat to all the storylines right after.
It is an inconvenient event. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, they thrown in, you know, a couple teammates don't get along thing, you know, every year and all
Alicia
that.
Fox becomes captain.
Yeah. But, yeah, I'm just over the Raw vs. SmackDown stuff.
Would it make sense this year as well with the wild card rule? Like, cause we're getting we're getting all the SmackDown starts on Raw and gone SmackDown.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It doesn't make sense.
Which,
I mean,
it's in the rumor mill that the wild card's going to get dumped, which we'll talk about.
God, I
later
hope
on.
so, man. I really hope
Please get rid of that wild card.
Yes.
It's like the worst.
Gone right now. It has to go. It has to go.
So, the next piece that we got to cover is pretty much we are the last people to cover it, but it was pretty much brought on by this new, by our new AEW champion, Mr. Chris Jericho. Had a little bit of the bubbly and
A little bit too much of the bubbly.
apparently a little bit too much. Goodness gracious. And lost his AEW Championship. Everybody's already covered this, so we don't really need to go too in detail, man. He went out to a restaurant, left his title in a limo, in his rented limo. Limo driver had to go back to the airport, exchange the luggage because apparently he grabbed the wrong luggage. By the time the limo got back and Chris Jericho hopped in the limo, his championship was gone. It was recovered just a day later on the side of the road. Thank you guys for no one in the comments correcting me when I foolishly said that the title was worth $100,000. Apparently, I way overvalued that belt. It's somewhere in the realms of 29 to 30 grand. But regardless, it was recovered. And now you kind of have this dichotomy or this split in opinion is whether or not Chris Jericho should be embarrassed, or I've even seen people coming out defending, like bringing up Alicia Fox's alcohol issues and you know, condemning people for making light of Chris Jericho, where she had so much scrutiny with her drinking. We'll get into that one. That's a hot button topic there.
You're gonna get me in a rant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But But yeah, and then we got like a million of these memes.
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Just all of this has come from this, dude. Which I hate it because that thing's gonna be dead by next week.
I think it's already dead.
Pretty much. But yeah, start it off, man. Should Chris Jericho be embarrassed? First champ, inaugural champ.
I don't think Jericho should be embarrassed, but maybe the company should, because that was out of Jericho's control. Maybe like that was like maybe the driver that had some issue with it. I think AEW should be like a little embarrassed that after he just got crowned that they lose the title. But I think Jericho, like, I don't think he did anything wrong himself.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Go ahead. I talk a lot.
I think there should be some embarrassment to it. I mean, you're a company that is trying to be as respected as the WWE. When's the last time anybody from there has lost a belt? Or even TNA. I mean, TNA's had, or Impact, they've had all these sorts of problems, but nobody, I can't remember any time somebody's lost a belt. Especially a day after winning and being the first champ. I mean, it's just really bad timing for the company.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've made the best they could out of it. They kind of tried to make it a storyline. They even asked the police department to take the post down saying it was found. But I guess they abandoned it. So they tried. Chris Jericho has made light of it. So they've tried to make the best they could. But I think they should be a little embarrassed, personally.
I think Jericho should be really embarrassed because my take on it is you're the champion. That's your belt. That's your responsibility. You need to look after that belt. And the rumor was that it may have been left on top of the car or on the back of the car. And then when the car drove, it got flung to the side of the road. That's Jericho's responsibility. He should make sure he knows where that belt is at all times. That's my take on it. It's Jericho's responsibility.
Yeah, and real quick, as much money as Tony Khan has, I think they should have gave more than $200 to the guy that found it and turned it in, personally. I mean, that's a belt, it's 30 grand, and you give him $200. That's just my take. I mean,
I thought it was $200.
Yeah, 200. What did I say?
3, I think. So, you gave him an extra 100.
No, well, 200. I think it should have at least been 500 or something.
Well, I'm hoping it was 2, and then maybe comes to a show the next time it's in his area or somewhere that he wants to go as well.
Yeah,
I think would be sufficient. Yeah.
Hell, I'd give him not season tickets, but just anytime you want it, dude. Just come watch the show.
Okay, so you guys, no, Jericho should not be embarrassed. Okay, listen, I hear all of this, but you got to remember, at the same time, this is pro wrestling, dude. This is guys that wrestle each other in their underwear, all right? The last thing these guys do is get embarrassed nowadays, okay? Stuff happens, man, and you make light of it, man. You turn it into stories. Every time something like this happens, there's an opportunity. Now, granted, should he feel a level of guilt? Yes, so I'm kind of arguing the emotion here. There should be some negative inkling, but embarrassment, no, man. We had a dude fuck a dead mannequin called Katie Vick back in the day, all right?
Oh, my God.
That is way more embarrassing than losing a title. Now, granted, yeah, you're trying to create this new prestigious company that's supposed to stick it to WWE, and then you're instantly met with a slip up or some mis PR. But you know what? That's what happens with fresh companies. That's what happens with, people trying something new. Little mistakes happen here and there, and you can argue that Chris Jericho is a veteran for almost 3 decades. But he's not the first person to have their title stolen. The boys over on, I think, What Culture, they created a whole list of wrestlers that have had their belts stolen. So he's not the first. And man, it happens. It's crazy timing. But now that I've countered your point, if it was left on the car, that is a little embarrassing.
See, I didn't even hear that part. That was news to me, Colin. I didn't even know he had left. If he did leave the title on the car, he should be embarrassed about that, but not that it got stolen. But if the actual story is that he left the belt on the car, the driver drove to the airport, and on the way to the airport, he like left it and it fell off the car. That should be embarrassing because like, how do you leave the title on the car, dude? Like, come on.
Yeah, that sounds
I had a little bit too much of the bubbly.
a little too much of the bubbly.
Too much of the bubbly.
And
Oh my
for
gosh.
any of you, granted, I don't think our listeners are the ones attacking that meme and that whole dichotomy and comparing it to Alicia Fox, because this is the obvious thing, and I don't think we need to go too deep into it. Alicia Fox is responsible for her colleagues' lives doing moves. Okay,
Absolutely.
she's responsible for human life, and she's drinking. Chris Jericho was drinking and was responsible for a piece of jewelry. Okay, there's a big difference there. Okay,
It was
You can't-
also after work.
after
Jericho
work,
was after
exactly.
work. Alicia was in work.
Yes.
That's a completely different ball again.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Absolutely.
I think that was a troll account or something, man. I can't believe anybody would actually like.
Yeah, I don't know how you can make that comparison.
Yeah, no, it's
I seen that, man, and I got so mad.
yeah. Sometimes you have to wonder if stuff like that is created just to get that reaction out of you. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Just
That's
to. Yeah.
That's it. That's exactly what it is.
Seb, I'll let you cover this Killer Cross news because I personally I'm not familiar with the wrestler and I'm not even familiar with the story, so I'll let you cover it, man.
Real quick before we get into that, should we? This kind of got announced after this came out. Should we give our takes on Cody and Jericho? That was announced.
Yeah, we can put it in there. Yeah, okay.
Should we do it now since we were already talking about the title?
So no. So the match.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I mean, we might as well, considering it's still related to Jericho and AEW. If you're not aware, the match was it like Full Gear?
Yeah. What a terrible name, by the way.
I know, Jesus, AEW, AEW, man. Their next pay-per-view is going to be headlined by Chris Jericho and Cody Rhodes. And the argument here is you've got one of the lead bookers has now booked himself into a title match, and this is drawing a lot of opinions. What do you guys think?
I don't like it. I hate it. To do it now, before the TV starts, it would be different if they waited to the TV and built a story for it. But just come out 2 weeks before TV starts and be like, hey, I'm in charge and I want the title shot. After he needed help to win his last match against Shawn, I had the Arn Anderson interference and all that. And even if you go before that, he couldn't even beat Darby Allin. He tied with Darby Allin. So he's not exactly winning matches, clean or being booked that strong. I don't like it. If they would have built a story for it, my opinion might be different, but right now, I just hate it. I think it's very Hulk Hogan WCW-like, in my opinion.
What about you, Colin?
I hate it, but, and I will say but, the reason that I hate it first, they have other shows planned. They have other title matches planned. As far as I know, Jericho's supposed to be defending against, is it Moxley in Philadelphia? That's already advertised, and now they're after booking Cody. Now, the one thing, this is where the book comes in. If they switch the belt at that Philadelphia show, and it's the new champ against Cody, then I can see something kind of taking over. But Cody booking himself into a title match, I don't like. It's, again, as Sebastian said, it's very Hulk Hogan WCW-esque to me. It's too early.
You got any takes, Vince?
Okay. Well, I kind of counter argue you guys because I don't like the way it was set up, but like the way, if I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, I'm gonna say that there's still a new company and they're trying to sell tickets. And Cody's a big name, and everybody's expecting him to get a title match at any point. So if he gets his title match now, they use him to like sell tickets and like try to sell out that event. They get his title match out of the way because he's probably not going to win it if it is straight up Jericho versus Cody. And then from there, it's out of the way, it's out of your mind, so we can move on to the next real challenger because Jericho's not dropping that title anytime soon, especially not to Cody. And then, like, obviously, like, art is subject to change. They could always change something up. Maybe Moxley comes out, or like Darby, or something. They could always book something. Obviously, right now it's kind of hard for a new company that doesn't have a TV deal to book an actual like story for their matches. Maybe they're just trying to sell tickets. And
Well,
as long as Cody doesn't win, I'm okay with it.
well, I'm gonna counter that. They have what 3 or 4 weeks before the pay-per-view, and not that just two. They want to preach it wins losses matter. In his last 3 matches, he's won 1 and 1. He lost the tag match against the Young Bucks. He drew against Darby Allin, and yeah, he beat Shawn. But like I said, it's interference. I feel like if you're going to preach wins and losses matter, then you need to do something on TV to set it up instead of just.
Okay, but see to the same argument. When AEW did that whole rally, that initial rally, that was the part they drove home. Wins and losses matter. Not how people win and how people lose matter. It's wins and losses. And right now, Cody is he's undefeated. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how he got through the match. He's undefeated.
He's not undefeated. He's not undefeated. They lost the tag match.
In singles matches, which is what the belt is being defended. It's a singles title. Cody's undefeated. He's got 1 draw, and he's undefeated. Now, granted, before I'm on my high horse, the guy booking the show has booked himself to be undefeated. You know what I mean? So you can still make that argument.
Now, hold on. If we're going to be fair between WWE and AEW, if tag losses don't matter, then people shouldn't have screamed Asuka was undefeated when she lost that first tag match.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm just, you gotta have every take on the show, man. Let me just give this to you, all
right? We're not trying to get you worked up, Sebastian.
We can't all pat each other on the back, okay? Listen, man. All right.
When Asuka lost that tag match, it was she's not undefeated. Her first loss came in a tag match and all this crap.
She didn't get pinned. She didn't get pinned though, man. She didn't get pinned.
It don't matter. It don't matter. You know, that's what everybody's take was.
You gotta word it correct. She was undefeated in singles matches, okay? But no, I mean, granted, it's a little bit of everything, man. It's a little bit of everything that we just said, and it's true on the good and bad side. You know, it's the booker. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what ruined WCW. Was the inmates were running the asylum, but at the same time. You have Vince's argument. Cody's a draw. He's one of the most popular wrestlers in the world. AEW might be a wrestling promotion and we want to be entertained, but at the end of the day, a business is in place to make money. And Cody prints dollar bills, you know? And then, like I said, and then it ties into the wins and losses. So the match itself completely makes sense. It really does. Is it the end of the company? Are they already turning into WCW 2000? No, man. Let's slow down. I
don't think they're doing that. I'm just saying this is very, similar to that.
Yeah, I mean, it does draw parallels, but so does the fact that it's facing off against a WWE show on weekly television. It's always going to draw parallels to WCW. If you look hard enough, you're going to find things that has in common with WCW. But,
you're right. But when you look at what it did to WCW and then also did to TNA, Booker's booking themselves in these spots hasn't worked out well. So
speaking of TNA or Impact, Killer Cross wants to get paid, and apparently he's not. That's really all I know about this. I'll let Sebastian take over on it.
Well, there's more. Also, like you said, he wants to get paid. They refused to pay him. He asked for his release, and so did his girlfriend, Scarlett. Scarlett got the release, but they're keeping
Scarlett Bordeaux, man. Is it Bordeaux or Bordeaux?
Bordeaux.
See, I can't hear it whenever I see her. I don't hear nothing when I see her. But anyways.
They're keeping Cross. They're not letting him go. And Sean Ross from Fightful, correct? This is what's coming to my attention. Apparently, Cross isn't booked for Slam. And before I start, I don't really follow weekly Impact. There's only so much time in a day. I just look for the major stuff, and I'll watch like Bound for Glory, Slammiversary, stuff like that, or bigger shows. But apparently, Cross isn't booked for Slammiversary. Fightful then sent an inquiry asking about his status. Apparently, Cross refused the blade during his Slammiversary match. because there were no doctors around, and there's apparently a lack of blood testing. So he refused the blade, used fake blood. So apparently after this, Impact is just not booking it.
Wow.
And they reached out to AAA, and apparently they have this partnership
Right.
for an upcoming show, and they told AAA not to book. So Impact's doing their best to make sure he is not booked on any shows.
Pretty much trying to
just
blacklist
because,
him.
Yeah, just because he refused to blade when there's no doctors around, or he felt that it was an unsafe environment to do it. So I don't know. I honestly thought Impact was starting to get some momentum behind them. They've had some good shows here lately.
Yeah.
But man, it just seems like Impact just cannot stay good PR. Seems like every time they get ahead,
yeah, they certainly can't go a month or two without something coming out really tarnishing their business practices.
And they announced also that they was going to start paying for wrestlers' hotels. Well, apparently they're still behind on talent's merchandise payments too. So a lot of talent is like, how are you going to pay for our hotels when you're not even paid us for our stuff yet?
Wow.
So I don't know. It's just bad stuff for Impact right now, getting released. That really sucks for Killer Cross. He's a good talent. And in my opinion, if it's an unsafe environment, no doctor around, you're not really testing blood, I don't blame him. I mean, if I'm in his book or in his shoes.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll get my thoughts on it. My initial thoughts, because this is like the story being brought on to me. And my gut, I can't help but sit on the fence with this one. I'm definitely not going to defend Impact because they have a long history of just poor relationships with their talent. It sucks because a talent can feel one way, but like any other job, you have a boss, and if your boss tells you to do something and then you outright refuse them, there's going to be a conflict in image, So granted, he could be completely right in this, but management at the end of the day is always going to want to feel like they're in control and carry that image, and it's almost like forces their hand to do something, and so it feels like it's unavoidable regardless, because management's not going to look good if they just blindly listen to the talent after they instructed him to do something and he outright refuses. But at the same time, because of the reasoning, that's just a complicated matter. It may not be so black and white, but it really feels like nobody's gonna win. It does suck on the side that they are blacklisting him, and hopefully it's a temporary thing, and hopefully all sides can come to some sort of agreement. But yeah, initially that just sounds it does sound shitty though. It does sound shitty.
I do agree with your whole, the management. They're a boss, but when it comes to safety, if you want stuff like that happen, just hire a doctor. I mean,
yeah,
like I said, they've had terrible time with PR. It doesn't help if they apparently don't have a doctor on staff.
That's weird to me. That's weird. How are you gonna have such a dangerous event and not have a physician or a doctor on hand in case something happens? That doesn't make sense to me.
So, like, what if Killer cut his blades himself, kind of like Eddie? We all remember at that time.
Oh,
it's an artery,
So, yeah, I mean, I understand their management and stuff, but if you want this stuff done, do your job as management, have the stuff there to,
right?
Be able to do it.
Yeah. Colin, you're a manager. What if one of your people outright disrespect? You gotta make an image, right? Because otherwise, you might have like a full-blown mutiny and no one respects you anymore.
You do and you don't. I can understand where he's coming from. Obviously, like from a manager's perspective, you want your staff to kind of do as you think they should do. But like you have to be open. If someone doesn't want to do it and has a sufficient reason for not doing it, where if he's saying that there's that he's wary of blood testing and stuff within the company and no doctors on hand, I think that's a sufficient health and safety reason not to do it. Like I'd be all for him, and I think that's the route that they should have went down. Like, does he have to blade in the match? Did he have to get color in order for the match to be good? No, I don't
Well,
think so.
well, it was a corner. It was a first blood match, but he
Oh,
did use
was it?
fake
Sorry,
blood.
sorry,
I
I
don't.
wasn't aware of that. Sorry,
Yeah,
I
well,
wasn't
that
aware
makes
of
way more sense now.
that. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, okay.
But still, I mean, have a doctor. I mean,
Yeah, have a
fake
doctor.
blood has been used in wrestling several times. It wouldn't have took anything away from the
Yeah,
match.
it's not like people have never seen fake blood before. You know what I mean? And been like, oh man, it's fake blood. This place sucks. Like, dude, like we've dealt with fake blood forever, man. No one cares if it's real or not. To be honest, I like what Meltzer said back in, I don't know, I think around 2017, right after Wrestle Kingdom. And he said, people getting busted open is yesterday's news. People are more entertained by very good matches that have story and then also a lot of talent in there. You know, you don't. People aren't nowadays. Most of us, there are still bloodthirsty people out there, but for the most part, if you're most pro wrestling fans, I would like to say are not bloodthirsty, because you have UFC for that.
Until they saw Cody and Dustin, that is.
Yeah,
Until
I
they saw
know.
Cody and Dustin.
But what I'm saying is you have a legitimate violent alternative in UFC and MMA now that wasn't so present in the 80s and 90s. So those bloodthirsty people have naturally migrated to MMA, and true pro wrestling fans have stuck around, you know. I don't think most of us are bloodthirsty. I don't know. I don't know. I could be way off base here, but that's kind of my logic on it.
And like, look, if you're an Impact, honestly, if I was management, I'd kind of be faithful. If Killer Cut blades himself too deep or something, and you ain't got a doctor there, that's a huge lawsuit. I mean, if you're management, you gotta be able to handle that stuff as well. Not just say, "Hey, I'm the boss." You gotta do it. But that's just a bad look for management on me. The talent want to protect themselves, and you're just not allowing them to protect themselves. I just don't like that.
There's no winners in this. There really aren't. They just need to chill out. Go ahead and give him an initial punishment for, outright defying management, and let him do his little bit of time, and then bring him back in the fold. There doesn't need to be any long-term negative relationship here, because honestly, Impact needs all the loyal talent it can afford right now. It's barely trending better than Ring of Honor. Poor Ring of Honor. Oh my gosh, that's a story for another day.
Well, we can actually kind of get into it, because our next topic is apparently Morris.
Oh God, what a segue! What an unintentional segue. Jesus, I didn't even mean to do that.
Marty Squirrel and Matt Taven, free agents.
Boy,
coming up soon.
So I've been calling it, man. Marty Scurll is going to be the first big reveal or something for television in AEW, or post TV for AEW. I can't wait for Marty Scurll to pop up there, bro. Oh, I don't know much about Matt Taven. I'll let you guys dive into it. Marty, I effing love Marty Scurll, and I can't wait for him to be on a promotion that I'm actually excited to watch. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I got to take about that. You guys go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's obvious that Marty is definitely AEW bound. Matt Taven, though, I mean, yeah, he can go to AEW. It wouldn't shock me at all if he ended up going to NXT. I believe he was a former tag champ with Mike Bennett. Am I right? I'm pretty sure he was.
Yeah, he was a former tag champ. Yeah, IWGP tag champ with Mike Kanellis. And as far as I know, Maria was the manager.
Yeah, they were the Kingdom at one point. I think Adam Cole was part of that too.
Yeah. Matt Taven right now is the world champion of Ring of Honor. And if you look at, like you said, poor Ring of Honor, he's not really drawing as world champ. Yeah, I'm kind of behind on Ring of Honor shows, so I don't know how much that is, for him. specifically, if he's hurting a product or not. But you always want your world champs to draw, and right now it's just not happening for him. I think I saw a thing. They were somewhere around the same time last year, and they had over 1,000. And this year they had like 300 paid paid fans. So yeah, it's definitely not good if you're them right now. But yeah, I could see him going to NXT or AEW. I don't think he's necessarily a big get for either one of them personally, but he'd be a good hand.
I think we should consult. Oh no, you go ahead, Vince.
I mean, what I was gonna say is that I think you're totally on the money with Marty Scurll. I think he's like a no-brainer going to AEW, and I can't wait for him to be there because he's honestly the only person I care about in Ring of Honor right now. And that's the only reason I would want to go to shows to like really see Marty. In terms of Matt Taven, I think Ring of Honor is just gonna be so desperate they're gonna throw a lot of money at Matt Taven. He's gonna stick around. He's just gonna stick around for the money, and I don't think NXT's even interested in Matt Taven. I haven't even heard him.
Well,
yeah, he has not popped up on my radar, honestly.
With the 2 hours going, I could see him just reaching out, trying to get extra hand. Like I said, I don't think he's going to be a big hit on every one, but I could definitely see him just being a hand. Go out there and get some TV time. Ring of Honor, who knows? I mean, I hate to say it, but their attendance is a tenth of what it used to be, it seems like. And I don't know personally if I'm a talent, if I want to be committed to that way it's going, because it looks like it's going now.
Yeah, the elite guys leaving Ring of Honor really killed them. Can I just say that, like, Marty Scurll, obviously the most obvious.
You were the opinion
signing.
I was looking forward to because obviously you're European, so.
Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. Marty Scurll, the most obvious signing for AEW ever. So
Ever.
I think he's
Yeah.
I think he's going to NXT. And hear me out.
You said you think he's going to NXT?
He's going to NXT.
Oh my god!
That's not crazy. That's not crazy. Go ahead, Colin. Go ahead.
Hear me out. Hear me out before you judge. So Marty Scurll goes to AEW. Look at the pecking order in AEW. Where does Marty Scurll sit? Mid card at the moment if he was to go in. But since the other elite guys have gone off and done their own thing, look at what Marty has done for himself in Ring of Honor and in his Japan shows. He's come to the fore. He's become a title challenger, especially in Ring of Honor. So he could be a huge fish going into NXT. And if they're willing to throw the money at Marty and say, you're going to be a big-time player with us, or you can go to AEW, yeah, you're going with your mates, but you're going to be, 8 down in the pecking list at the moment, behind a lot of other stars that they're trying to build up. I know where I'd put my flag. I'd be going to NXT.
The money would be better in NXT too.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
no, dude, no!
Yeah.
They would pair him up with Jack Gallagher and create the Umbrella Boys. Hell no!
No. But that's assuming he goes to like 205 Live for like main roster. If he goes to NXT, especially since NXT is going to be built up to be like this, like the Wednesday Night Wars like rival for AEW. How great would that be for NXT? I'm like, we got their friend, and he chose us over them.
Right.
We're gonna highlight him. The only incentive that WWE right now can give him is a bigger role in NXT and more money. And if they're not able to offer him the money at least or the bigger role, what's the point? He might as well just sign with his friends.
They tried to do it with Hangman already. They tried to do it with Hangman before AEW got started. Supposedly Hangman had a massive deal on the table for about a year, and he turned it down because he said that they were in it together. They left Marty behind. Now, obviously, Marty had a bigger deal, or a longer deal, to cover, but Marty's after making a huge name for himself with Villain Enterprises. And yeah, for me, I think he's gonna swerve everybody and he's gonna show up on NXT.
He would be huge on NXT.
it.
He would be huge.
I could see it. But counter Vince, I don't know for sure about the more money, because if you really think about it, Tony Khan has more money than Vince. Tony Khan can probably look at him too.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes things like this interesting. Vince is used to having an upper hand when it comes to money.
Yeah.
When that's not really the case anymore. Tony Khan can match him or go even higher. So
And with
it'll be interesting.
so many recent signings too, that are just low key and sometimes not even low key, just right out saying like, "Don't join, don't come over," like telling their old colleagues like, "You come here, man. Like you come here just to collect a paycheck, but if your artistic vision is still alive and well, don't come here." Because WWE is not gonna honor it, man.
Well, that being said, though, that's assuming he has main roster. It's a totally different story on NXT.
And Vince be like, he's got an umbrella. Now, we got another guy with an umbrella. Just put them together.
Oh my gosh, no.
And Triple H has been very open in saying creative isn't changing in NXT. Vince isn't touching it.
Yeah.
So
Triple H gets him. I don't think it'll be a problem.
Yeah, as long as Mr. McMahon doesn't touch NXT whatsoever, and it's just basically an extension of what they're doing currently, Marty will flourish in NXT. I could see him being like a top NXT champion within the year.
I mean, look at Adam Cole. Look at if Adam Cole can be your top guy, so can Marty Scurll.
Mm-hmm.
Just God knows, dude. If he wound up on 205, like Okada would have a fit. Because
I love that
match he had with Okada, and he was taunting him, calling him 205.
That was honestly the best match on the card for me. Like I was there in the building, and I know a lot of people are gonna say Penta versus Kenny or the Bucks, three-person 6-man tag or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought Marty and Okada was the best match of the night. It had the best story.
Oh, that was my favorite. That was my favorite.
Marty was a star in that match, and Okada was right there with him. Both of those guys just stood out. And also too, I don't even think 205 Live is going to be around by the time Marty gets signed.
I hope it gets absorbed. I hope it gets absorbed into NXT, mainly NXT. To continue their work rate, because they're already being helmed by Triple H, so it would make sense.
Yeah, I heard the rumors and anyway.
Yeah.
From what I've heard.
Marty Scurll can be the first big free agent to make a swing in this. No doubt.
Yeah.
But not just him, former Kingdom member Matt Taven. So.
Yeah, poor Matt Taven getting overlooked even in our show, man. Sorry, Matt. I don't know much about you, bro.
So the former Kingdom member to the King of the Ring semis next week.
Yeah.
From royalty to the new royalty.
Yes. So where are we at in the bracket? I'm gonna Google it here because I don't actually have it.
I have it here. So
go ahead. Thank you.
Yes. So we have Joe, Ricochet, and Core triple threat match on Raw tomorrow in the Raw semi-final, and then we have Elias and Gable on the SmackDown semi-final.
Okay, yeah, and we're building the finals here. So we have like you just said. You said Joe, Ricochet, and Corbin.
And Corbin, yeah.
Yeah. And then on one side of it, and then you said Elias
and Gable. Or Shorty G.
Shorty G. It's Rob Rob is petitioning, man.
I think Gable's a guaranteed 20.
Yeah.
I think he's a lock. Yeah. I think Gable's a lock at this point. There's no way you built him up throughout the tournament the way you have without him getting to at least the finals.
Right.
And plus, if you put
he's the biggest story. He's the biggest story. Going into
I could see either one of them from Raw. I could see them going the heel face route with either Corbin or Joe, or I could also see this one hell of a match in the finals between Ricochet and Gable.
That's my dream scenario right there. Ricochet versus Gable.
They're not going to do WWE. I say, I know me and Seb clash here every time. WWE very much still believes in heels and faces, and they're not going to do two faces for King of the Ring. They're not going to do it.
No, I totally get that.
I was literally about to say that, Kyle. I was literally about to say that. I'll put a nail in that coffin right now. Ricochet is not winning if they're going down the Gable route. Yeah. It's definitely Joe or Corbin, and in my opinion, if they're going down the Gable route, it's Corbin.
Well, the main reason I say that, it's heel versus face on. They got 12 matches right now. I don't think going face-face will, hurt the pay-per-view at all. And I don't think, especially with Heyman in charge, kind of. I mean, if you look at the Raw side, Vince hasn't really touched Raw the last few weeks. Now on SmackDown, he's ripped up the script several times. But when it comes to Raw, he's kind of left it alone. I could see, Heyman, he's very high on Ricochet. I could see him just putting him in there and just having a match. King Corbin, I think that's not necessarily going to... I mean, yeah, he might make the finals, but
Dude, Corbin...
You know how WWE is. If you put on that crown, you're not winning.
Fucking win. Because we would hear Rob every Monday and Tuesday fucking just going off. I cannot deal with that.
But
I'm going to just say right now...
if you see them put the crown on, they're not winning. So just from that for me personally, that eliminates Corbin. But, when this whole thing started, I said they had a great chance to do several things. Whether it would be remake a guy like a Joe or a Drew that's been kind of hurt booking-wise, pretty much remake and create new stars like they have with Gable. So I could see them going Joe Gable, just to give Joe momentum. And plus, they've already teased the Gable versus Joe thing backstage. So they like to pour up shadow sometimes as far as that goes. But with Corbin putting the crown on, no, I don't think he's winning.
Nice. So it sounds like we are all pretty much agreeing that Gable goes in. It's just whether it's not against Corbin or Joe. Poor Ricochet, we all agree, is not going in. Which that would be an awesome swerve.
It'd be a great match. It'd be a great match that I'd love to see, but I just can't see them doing it for the format.
And look, since the last few weeks, since AEW's kind of, getting the momentum and getting started, they've went swerve a lot more than they usually have.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
They've been coming with the swerve, so it wouldn't shock me a bit to see Ricochet and Gable, just for, more variety in the show. It's not a heel versus face dynamic like every other match is. Just go out there and have a good match, and it would make the King of the Ring be showcased more if you just throw out there two guys that can have a great match.
And like I said,
which Joe and Corbin can too, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I've always said, man, I'm happy if you can surprise me. You know what I mean? Like, WWE, I give them a pass. Anytime you can surprise me, man, I'm happy. Just because, they do fall into that thing where you feel like you can predict and book the shows just as well as it's being booked nowadays. So yeah, it'd be interesting, man. It'd be interesting. I don't know, man. That's a hard one. It's a hard one to predict right now. Between Joe and Corbin, to be fair, but honestly, you got to give probably Corbin. Corbin's probably the odds favorite for the heel going in.
I'm going Joe.
Yeah,
I'm going Joe too. They wouldn't do that angle like they literally brought Joe to SmackDown just to do that awkward angle with Chad Gable, and honestly, Joe versus Gable, that would be the ultimate big guy for Gable to face. And who needs this win the most? Honestly, the person that would benefit the most from would be Gable.
Need to win, though.
Well,
I don't know.
Joe, but still, it's Joe. You could have him do something cool, and people will like him.
I hate that. That's his thing. Is it's Joe. He can lose. You know what I mean? That's his thing. Because that's been the logic for all 8 of his title matches. It's Joe. He can eat a loss. Yeah.
I think if it's Joe Gable, Joe wins. Gable, they've already made him. I think if he goes out there and has a hell of a match with Joe, it's not going to hurt him at all.
Joe's mouthpiece after winning King of the Ring. His promo.
Like I said, it can just remake Joe.
Yeah.
I mean,
reestablish
the damage is gone. King Joe.
Because who's out of all 5 participants, who's the closest one that could give the Stone Cold promo after winning King of the Ring?
Joe.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. If it's Joe and Gable, I hate I don't hate to say it, but no, you just convinced me, Seb, that if it did come down to Joe and Gable, I'd want Joe to win. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Speaking of Stone Cold, him and Undertaker's on TV this week.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. Undertaker and Stone Cold both on TV. What? Stone Cold's on Raw, right? And Undertaker showing up on SmackDown?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Alright, cool.
The Fiend's attacking one of them, right?
Dude, he has to. He has to attack both.
Yeah.
Get them both.
If he gets them both, that'd be great. But I think it's either or situation. I don't think we're gonna get both.
Who?
If he gets them both, we could just stop watching wrestling right now because that would be
it will never. Yeah, that is the peak.
Yeah.
That is the apex of WWE.
Oh yeah, WWE would have peaked at that point.
Yes. Okay,
Where
so
do you go from there? Where do you go? Like the.
I would absolutely love Fiend come out, Stone Cold give him the finger, the birds, stun him, no sell, and then just choke him out with the claw. I think that'd be. But as far as Undertaker, man, I really am.
If there's
if you go
anybody
back to
the Fiend
Fiend
needs to take out, it's the Undertaker.
Yes.
Like, as much as I'd love to see Stone Cold, just because you know how untouchable he is, I think squashing the Undertaker. Granted, and you can chalk it up to he surprised him, he jumped him, whatever. Just the idea of the Undertaker getting decimated. I think they both rile me up. Don't get me wrong, but I would give the edge to the Undertaker, taking out the Undertaker, because that's arguably the character he's trying to pass the torch from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Becky Lynch is carrying Stone Cold's torch right now, whether we want to admit it or not. Becky Lynch is carrying that torch. The Fiend needs to carry the Undertaker's torch.
And look, we're in the time of the year where you can plant seeds for WrestleMania. If you go back to Triple H Batista,
very true.
That was planted around this time. Sting Triple H. I mean, it was a little more ahead of the Survivor Series, but not that far ahead. So we're in that kind of the year where those can be planted, and it wouldn't shock me knowing that Undertaker don't have a announced reason to show up if that's what we get. Like you said, Undertaker wants to kind of pass that torch, and there's no better way to do it than take her WrestleMania.
Yeah, something's gonna happen with that Undertaker because they didn't even say what he's gonna be on the show doing. What is he just gonna drop one of those infamous like souls in holes?
Souls in holes.
Yeah. Or like I don't. There has to be something going on there. So he definitely has to attack the Undertaker. With Stone Cold, he's literally only there to like pop like ticket sales for Madison Square Garden and like just to be the moderator. I don't know. Like, dude, I would like him to attack both.
Yo, I'm getting chills right now. Could you imagine the Fiend and the Undertaker? Undertaker's entrance first.
Mm-hmm.
He gets the entrance first. He gets rattled by the Fiend's entrance. Oh, dude.
WrestleMania?
Dude,
what if if this sets up Taker Fiend at Mania?
Dude, but I'm saying, but like, instead of having the Fiend wait and watch Undertaker's entrance like everybody else, you show Fiend his respect, and you have Undertaker perform the first entrance. And then have to wait for the Fiend, and then get rattled, like Finn Balor did. Like, I don't know, man.
That just gave me an idea. So when the Fiend first showed up and attacked Finn, like he was doing his like post-match taunt, and like the music just kind of just like faded and like was distorted, and then that's when the Fiend slowly started to appear. What if Undertaker takes off his hat and the music distorts, and it's the Fiend that comes out, or something like that?
Something.
Yeah.
Man.
So like. Yeah, something has to happen there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So can I just take a second and just crush everybody's dreams here?
Colin the realist.
No, I'd love to see that. The Fiend and Undertaker, absolutely at Mania.
Oh my God.
But this is my take. Taker's coming on Tuesday for SmackDown to set up a match with Sting for Crown Jewel.
Dude, no! That is the worst!
Yeah.
That is the worst!
That makes so much more sense.
That's what happened. But we can go back down. We can go back down Dream Alley now and say that the Fiend comes out at Crown Jewel.
The
Sorry.
bubble's been bursted. I'm sorry. I can't go back to that.
All right, 50
Well,
episodes was good, folks. It's a wrap. It's just like-
What if the Fiend comes out at Crown Jewel and takes out both Taker and Sting?
All right, Colin, this is your last appearance on the show. Okay,
You're bumming me out, Colin.
so bumming me out. Oh my gosh! You know what,
Look,
Colin?
as much as I want to shit on that idea, I thought Goldberg and Taker was a bad idea until the build started, and then I was excited to see it. So I'm not gonna say I wouldn't be excited at the time for Sting Taker, but I'd much rather have the Fiend attack Taker Tuesday.
I know. I mean, look, man. Really, at the end of the day, we all agree. We all agree. If the Fiend attacks either one of them, and it's a good thing. It's a really good thing. So I really hope WWE finally sucks up its pride and its mentality that these Attitude Era guys, as much as we love them and respect them and we value them, there's so much more to offer. Letting one of these new hot commodities wipe them out, man. There's so much more to gain than the opposite. A guy from our past just popping our nostalgia for 5 seconds, stunning or tombstoning a new guy, and then being off screen all year, and we're stuck with a dude who got beat by a guy who's been retired for 20 years. You know, like it. Come on, this is obvious.
Yeah, like so, like Mick Foley did that for the Fiend, and that's how the Fiend debuted his new finisher, the Mandible Claw, by using it on the guy that made it famous.
Right.
So stuff like that is great. I mean, like, definitely. I totally believe that's something they should start doing going forward, using the older guys to put over the younger guys. But you know, if the Fiend isn't going to challenge the Undertaker, since Colin's kind of like just bursting my bubble with that.
I know, man. Colin, thank you. I
Sorry,
really
guys.
was not
Sorry.
trying to think about Saudi shows, and now like just made it a part of the episode.
we need a voice of reason here, guys. We need a voice of reason.
So if he's not challenging the Taker, who is he challenging? Braun or Seth?
Hey, good segue. Got that.
I say Steph.
Seth. Yeah, it can't be
I think
Braun.
that makes more sense.
Yeah, it can't be Braun.
Especially if it is going to be a Hell in a Cell match like venue advertised.
I'm not ready for a competitive match, man.
No.
Well,
Granted,
just the visual of the Fiend in a Hell in a Cell match.
I
just does it for
know,
me.
I know.
Imagine what he could pull off in that stretcher.
Yo,
Who knows? Maybe he squashes that.
and hats off to WWE's production team, because I actually went back and watched the Fiend's entrance at SummerSlam from a fan's
amazing.
recorded position, and it doesn't carry quite the same magic as their production. Like, that entrance, how they shot it scene for scene, was damn near perfect. Only criticism I had is maybe using too much of that, like, sanity camera effects, like, all panning by him, like, trying to, you know, you're struggling to see what you're seeing. But by the end, it all came together. I watched the cell phone footage from someone front row, and it's not like it was lame or anything, but it really did kill that mystique of us trying to struggle to get, like, the first good, like, look at him, you know, when the fans could see him for the entire entrance, you know. So it was hats off to WWE's production. They're always solid production and promo wise. They're always solid there for the most part. But
And another reason I don't think it's Braun, I think for a while we're going to get guys match up with the Fiend where the Fiend looks more intimidating. Like the Finn Balor, he's so much bigger than Finn. He would have a big size advantage on Seth. I just don't know if they want to throw him out there against a much bigger Braun and try to have that same effect just yet.
yeah, having the Fiend look up at a competitor is going to be a little different. I get what you're saying there. Seth. He's got to win. You know, one thing though is it's heavily implied that it will be for the Universal title, but that's not how they worded it. They didn't word it as the winner. They just worded it as challenging either or, you know, and WWE they're not usually that clever. Typically they want to set up their next title match. They'll announce it. I get the winner of the next title match. For them to be just saying you're challenging either or tells me he might be taking on the loser, which it may be. It's hard to say. It's hard.
That's a very very good point, Kyle. I like that one. That's a good one because I think Seth's time is. I think Seth's had the belt for long enough now. But I think
Shit! Can we get Braun winning the Universal Championship finally?
That would be good.
We'll save it for predictions. But man, that might happen.
Braun at the hands of the Fiend after causing Seth the match, maybe.
Maybe, I don't know.
To set up the whole Hell in a Cell with him and Seth, then with Seth as the loser.
Yeah, because he's challenging either or, and who says he doesn't jump in there? Ref bump. If a ref bump happens, calling it now. You're gonna get the lights going out. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, because they're not gonna make Seth lose cleanly if he does lose, and they'll let Braun lose clean. We all know that they'll let Braun lose clean, but I don't think they'll let Seth lose clean. I don't know. I don't know how you book it. It's not our job to book it.
So, I mean, I don't want to get too much into it because that would go into like predictions and stuff like that. But like maybe because they're gonna defend the tag titles beforehand. What if they drop the titles and they're so like exhausted and they're going back and forth to each other, and by the time they get to the title match, that's what costs them the match. They're not focused. One of them is not focused, and the other takes advantage.
Well, yeah. Not only that, there's so many ways you could spin that. They could lose the titles, and one destroys the other guy. Like, Braun destroys Seth for getting like rolled up, or I don't know, because you'd like I said, I hate to say it, but you'd think if either of them's gonna get pinned, it's still probably Braun. You're not gonna have your world champ get pinned, so that wouldn't make sense unless you have Seth start curb stomping him. Yeah, because they can't lose the titles by DQ. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I don't know.
They can't lose. I don't know. I think it's going to be Seth, though. That's who he challenges. I don't like. Sebastian made a great point. It doesn't really make much sense for him to challenge Braun because he's going to be looking up to Braun.
Right.
You still want to have that intimidating look to the Fiend, and I think Seth can really sell the Fiend. The question is whether it's going to be for the title or not.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
As complicated as that is. What do you think about WWE and hour NXT, hour USA for the first 2 weeks?
No, that's so weird. It is weird. It's because of suits.
Which is a good reason, yeah. I mean, the network has a good reason for it. USA, they got to finish the season with suits. But
so how do you?
It's odd.
How do you book it? So we already got. What's the big match announced for it? It's the. No. It's Dream and Roderick Strong.
Yeah,
is the big match. So here,
was that now?
That's the first live show.
Yeah,
that's what it's announced for. Yeah. So here's the question.
You also got the triple threat number one contenders, and apparently I don't know if y'all saw this. Rhea tweeted yesterday that if she wins, she gets added to that number one contenders match. If she beats Shayna Wednesday.
Talking about Ripley.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna focus right now though on Strong and Dream because that's your main event. That's the big attraction. It's the title match. You have the stakes. Dream's really great reign versus Strong's the last piece of Undisputed Era being draped in gold. So that to me strikes me as the most important match on the card. Would you book it to open the show on USA to give that hot start, that pay-per-view level match, or do you reserve it for the network to close the 2-hour show, but chances are your casuals aren't going to ever see it? You have to book it for the beginning, right?
No,
you have to close the show with it. You have to
close it off with a banger. So the way I'd book it is you start it off with that triple threat. because the girls can go too. Like especially in NXT, they let them go and like put on some of the better matches on the show. Like Sasha and Bailey had like the two best matches in NXT history, and like you start that off with like just either that match or just a really good match. Use the first hour on USA to like get people to be like, hey, if you want to watch more, go over to the WWE Network, watch this main event. You think this was good? This is going to be even better. And if not, come back for the next hour next week for just the 1 hour, and then just keep watching this here. I think you get people in with that triple threat or that fatal four way when if Rhea gets added to it. Start off with that. Give it like a good like 20 or 30 minutes. Let them put on the show. Then you carry on the show from there, but close it off with a banger with that Roderick Strong, with that Undisputed Era, like getting the title there. Like I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, like Roddy's probably gonna get the title.
You would think so, right?
Yeah. If not because he wins like straight up, I don't think he will. Undisputed Era is gonna show up and cost Dream the match. I think that's given at my end.
Yeah,
but that's how I do it. Like you close off with Strong and Dream.
Okay. And I mean, it makes sense because I've been calling for Undisputed Era to be draped in gold for a while now, but it does make more sense instead of doing it all on TakeOver to gradually put the belts on them. So yeah, I agree with you. I think Strong's getting that belt. I don't think there's really any way around it. You got to have that shot of all four of them with the title. Sorry, I'm a little... Patriots just got a touchdown. Touchdown! Yes! Anyways.
Nice.
You got to have that shot of all of them with the gold.
I hate the Patriots, but okay.
Dude, not going to lie. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. All the football talk we're going to get right now, they are decimating Pittsburgh. They're 16-0 right now. But anyways, people who watch wrestling, a lot of them hate football. So I guess I'll try to not talk about football.
I mean, me and Benji aren't fans.
Yeah,
but maybe it's a Chicago thing.
It might be.
Because we have to root for the Bears, so it's probably not a good thing.
And another reason that could have Roderick win, and I really hope this isn't the case, we don't know how NXT is going to be affected with this supposed draft. Maybe a Velveteen call-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's ready.
That's true. Speaking of the draft, that's our final talking point, really, I think. So here's the behind the scenes. Behind the scenes has gotten a draft too. The lead writers for Raw and SmackDown got shaken up. Vince, there has been consequences to Vince tearing up SmackDown, and I hate that I didn't do the research, guys. I apologize. I should have got it, but the lead writer of SmackDown has been put on suspension or leave right now, and it's probably due to Vince tearing up his scripts week in and week out. So they've replaced the lead writer of SmackDown, who I believe has been writing for a long time.
I think he's the 205 Live guy.
I can't remember, to be honest with you. I really.
So
can't.
they said it. They said it was personal reasons, from what I heard. And I think what you're saying, Vince, the 205 Live guy has come in to replace the Raw guy who was replacing the SmackDown.
Yeah. So we've gotten a behind the scenes draft, like shake up. I don't know how much is that it's gonna translate on screen. Hopefully, it's for the better. Hopefully. I mean, right now, I think we're all in an agreement. Raw and SmackDown have consistently been improving.
On that point, we give Vince a lot of shit. Even if he has tore up the scripts the last 3 or 4 weeks for SmackDown, they've been a very solid show.
They've been all right.
Just for
I
don't praise Vince a lot, so there's that.
I was kind of pissed,
you can praise
though.
this, Vince.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't want to praise him, you can praise me a little bit.
Took a second there. But yeah, on draft. So we got to see some big names move around. I think the big names that I saw that I wish we would just get solidified was Roman on SmackDown. I think still makes sense. You need to have Raw being carried by a different face, but that's not Roman Reigns.
Mhm.
Just because you gotta make it at least appear that Roman's not your number one guy right now, even though he arguably still is. They're not shoving him down our throat anymore. We cannot say that anymore. Like Roman, they're giving us time to appreciate him, opposed to having him on like 2+ segments every night, closing the show every night. I like how they're using him. I really do. Who's an NXT call up for you guys?
I don't know, and that's the thing. We don't know if NXT is going to be
Included in the draft?
You'd think it would. You'd think it would if it been on USA. It'd be kind of hard to
how much
do it around them.
I think it's how they're going to use to get people over to NXT as well. So I think it does have to be included in the draft because they need to get the stars to NXT as well.
It'd be really cool too, just to show the importance of NXT, and you can make this a story as well.
Could you imagine?
Throw them in there and have the main roster, brands skip over them, not draft anybody, and then put that chip on NXT's shoulder.
I was thinking is we have a televised draft beforehand, and just as they're kicking it off, you hear William Regal's voice off screen wait now, sunshine. And NXT gets representation, man. And yeah, that'd be cool. My opinion, though.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
And two, on the reports, it doesn't really mention NXT. So I just hope they don't bring too much of NXT up. I think that NXT's doing perfectly fine, and there's a lot of characters in NXT. I don't think it would do well on the main roster. I don't know if Paul Heyman would probably handle some well, but with Vince kind of doing SmackDown right now, I like Velveteen on the SmackDown for sure, just for example. And two, it's supposed to be a sports-style draft. Apparently, just the reports.
Do we have wrestlers at home just watching a live feed? With a camera in their house?
What I like to see is that I don't know what draft it was, but it's the draft where the Undertaker got drafted. I think it was the very first draft where Undertaker.
Draft.
Yeah, where Undertaker just takes his shades off and he's just throwing the fit that he got drafted. Yeah, he was pissed. That's what I want. I want a room, and camera people recording the entire room and see the wrestlers' reaction to them being drafted. That's what I want to see. Everybody's in the green room or whatever, and they're waiting for their names to be called, just like regular sports athletes. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be a shakeup. It's supposed to be like a sports field draft. So I'm really interested to see how they do it.
Yeah.
So then, could it also be kind of like when expansion teams, when there's a new team, there's an expansion draft, but every team gets you get these number of people that you can protect and they can't be drafted no matter what, and you have to leave a couple that the new team can draft. I'm guessing maybe they could do that, where SmackDown and Raw, they obviously keep their champions, but they also get a select number of okay, you get 10 people, these guys can't be drafted, everybody else is up for grabs. Would it be something like that?
That'd be cool. I mean, honestly, there gotta be some kind of protection when you include the champs, and NXT, you'd think no, Gargano ain't gonna be touched. Adam Cole and Undisputed Era ain't gonna be touched.
No, leave Gargano where he's at, please.
Yeah,
God,
so
no.
I mean, there's certain guys where you just know that they're not moving, so you might as well throw in a protection thing there and just make it out there, and that way it's not on your mind. You can focus on the people that you should be focusing on.
Yeah, and with the whole protection thing, that would actually make sense. With the first initial draft, where Finn was drafted, and American Alpha was drafted, and Nia Jax was drafted. If you're drafting for the first time ever, Raw and SmackDown are separated for real this time. Why wouldn't you just draft the best guys there? I think Nakamura was on NXT at the time. Why wouldn't you just go ahead and just draft Nakamura if he's the best guy and there's no restrictions? I kind of wish they would If there is restrictions, let us know. If there isn't, then let us know exactly. So especially for NXT, are only select people allowed to be drafted or champions excluded? There has to be that concrete definition of what can and cannot be happening.
And I'm hoping Fox has that influence. I really do. I hope so. Because that makes
From what I've
sense.
seen, Fox is apparently going to be very big in helping this draft, like the presentation of it. So Fox is definitely going to have an influence. That's apparently a lot of people from Fox was in, I guess, talking to Vince about it or in a meeting
Yeah, because
about
they
it
don't
or
want
whatever.
SmackDown to get shit on. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like we signed you for $1 billion for a reason. You better give us some money draws. You know what I mean? And not just use them to recap angles on Raw. Like they need SmackDown to feel like an A show. You know what I
And I
mean?
think it will. I mean, the Fox presentation is just top notch.
Very good.
They've been getting heavy promotion in NFL games, you name it. They promoted it.
Speaking of promotion, did you guys see like those leaked pictures of like certain superstars with like the new Fox SmackDown logo in the background? And a lot of people are speculating that they're probably locks to be on SmackDown.
I have seen
Yeah,
the
I only
Fox
seen them
ads.
recently. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the Fox ads. Had like Roman and I want to say like Sasha. I can't remember exactly. I know Roman though was a big one.
Mysterio and
Kofi.
Alexa Bliss were on there, and
Yeah.
Becky Lynch too.
Becky was the big
Becky
one
has
that I
been on a
noticed,
hell of a
yeah.
lot of them. Yeah.
I'd imagine Brock would be on SmackDown.
Yeah, that really wouldn't make much sense for Becky to be promoting Fox if she wasn't going over. You're blowing my mind, Vince.
I'm just saying because like I saw the images because like a lot of them are SmackDown superstars like Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston, but the three names that stood out was Rey Mysterio, Alexa Bliss, and Becky Lynch, which are big Raw names.
Yeah.
I mean Alexa can go to both shows because like it was established that the women's tag titles can go to any brand,
Right.
which I haven't seen them go to NXT except for that one time Bayley and Sasha
That
did
was
it.
that was
But
garbage. I mean, like, oh, that's something for another day.
But yeah,
I think-
would that then mean that Becky's going to SmackDown then? Why was she doing promotional work for the opposite brands, especially when she's the other brand's champion?
Well, right now, you could kind of argue they don't have a specific brand, wild card and stuff. They don't, when the draft comes up, that's your brand.
Yeah.
Right now, they're just going back and forth, so they're not really aligned with a certain brand right now as much as they try to. And really, they've, when we talk about the wild card rule, they haven't mentioned the wild card rule in like 2 months, like named it.
They'll throw it in here and there, but they haven't.
I mean, they're still booking the same way. They're just not name dropping it.
Yeah, so, maybe they're just not even calling the wild card rule right now, and they're just letting them go back and forth. So, I'm just really excited. I've said it for, even when they did these shakeouts, it should be a draft, not just show up on a Tuesday and you're on SmackDown all of a sudden.
Right.
I love the draft concept, and I think it'll really add to both shows just to have a unique presentation, because the Fox presentation is going to be a lot different in the USA. Not just sports-like feel, but just their graphics and stuff like that, because Fox is just, their production, like I said, it's top-notch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you need the unique brands, and I think regardless as well of where you go, like you go to Raw, you're on the flagship, you're on the 3-hour flagship show. You go to SmackDown, you have the new Fox presentation. They're gonna get huge pushes on Fox, and then if you go to NXT, you have your new 2-hour show going head to head with AEW.
Yeah,
I think regardless of which show, I think we're in for some really good stuff with WWE in the next couple of months.
Yes, we
and
are.
and just as a talent, knowing that has to be really good, just that to be in the back of my mind, knowing no matter where I go, it's gonna be exciting. It's not the old God. I hope I don't go to SmackDown.
Yeah, there's positives for every kind of show.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. Every superstar has to be sitting there psyched, regardless of where they're gonna end up.
Yeah, man.
And like I said, Raw and SmackDown both has been really solid here the last month and a half. So it's the AEW effect, man. I said it as soon as it was announced. Competition is best for everyone. It brings out the best.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see that.
That's such a good point to end it on tonight, too, man. Is really the product's just gonna get better. Like you said, Sebastian, it's the competition is going to bring the best out of it. I mean, the TV deals, all of this stuff. TNT, Fox, USA, NXT. We've got so much to look forward to. And you know what a great way to segue into plugging ourselves just shamelessly. Smack Drop Podcast has a lot to look forward to as well, because we will be covering AEW, NXT, SmackDown on Fox, and obviously still covering Raw, man, and we can't wait for you guys to join us. Sebastian, I'll let you, man. You've been getting really good at this. You wanna close out the show, man?
No, I'm gonna let Vince or Colin.
Yeah, let one of the new guys do it. Okay.
Yeah.
You go for it, Vince. You go for it, man.
No. Maybe I'm not just ready for it just yet, but I mean, you can find us anywhere. We're on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play. We're on YouTube. We're growing. Join us there. You know, be one of the few people to join us on the ground floor. iTunes as well. There you go, iTunes. I'm getting there.
Hey, thank you guys for joining us. Y'all have a great night.
Likewise. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
See ya.